Milwaukee, make some noise for your headliner, Josh Johnson.
Been very excited. I've been very, very excited. Been highly anticipating a bout that's coming up. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Some of you may have not known that this was going to happen, but in case you didn't, Mike Tyson is going to box Jake Paul, and I'm excited more for the spectacle than the actual fight. I don't know what's going to happen in the fight exactly, but it is one of the wildest encounters of two people punching each other that you could have ever imagined. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, a star, a bona fide star globally of the 80s, fighting one of the most popular influencers that the modern era has to offer. And it just feels like somehow the 80s are fighting the 20s. Do you know what I mean? Like Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul feels like Sylvester Stallone versus Liam Hemsworth. It's like, you're just kind of like, what? How? How are they even close enough in age to have anything to argue about? Oh, this is crazy. If you don't know Mike Tyson, I know that some people are too young to have like really watched him fight. I'm too young to have like remembered those fights live. Some of them I wasn't even around for, but I watched the tape and it's devastating. Mike Tyson is one of the most bona fide terrifying people. You know what I mean? Some of the things that Mike Tyson would just say, I'd be like, oh, to even think it, you must be willing to do it. Do you know, like there was a press conference one time where Mike Tyson was sitting there and he's like, this thing, I don't think these guys understand. I'm not here to just box. I'm not here to fight or anything. I'm trying to take their health. Sir, the question was, what has your preparation been for this match? Mike Tyson he's like an embodiment of like everything like fierce, violent, and dangerous in one person that also very much loves birds. And what's wild about Mike Tyson is that from the time that he was young, right, to present, he had taken a genuine, not only interest, but maybe an obsession with the way that the world works, understanding oneself and understanding the world and how who you are applies to the world, right? So he said some of the most fascinating things around Alexander the Great, around conquerors, around kings, around how to win a mental battle as well as like a physical one, how war works. He has such an understanding of the world. And then he says other things. Other things that are so scary that you're like, sir, just shoot me. Don't want to have to deal with this, you know? And a lot of it bleeds together because it's not my time, right? I'm not like from that era, but you watch these old compilations of press conferences and interviews and post-fight interviews with Mike Tyson, I was scared for the reporter. Because you have a man who's been training to basically kill a man with his fists, even if it took him 12 rounds, and it took half of one. So by the time you interview him, he's still got a lot of energy. There was one time they were trying to interview Mike Tyson after a fight. They're in the ring with him. They're putting the mic in his face and everything. And he's so amped and he's talking. He's like, y'all don't understand. Like, I'm from Sonny Liston's cloth. I'm the most fierce. And he starts describing not just who he is as a boxer, but his training and everything. And then at the end of it, he goes, I don't know, man. What? And I think if I had been the reporter, I'd also be like, nothing. I didn't say anything. Don't worry about me. Mike Tyson press conference was a master class in psychological warfare. He would say things that had you thinking like, oh man, this dude's like out of his mind. Or this dude really wants to kill me and I don't know him. That's gotta be tough as a fighter, to sign up for a fight. And you know we both fight. But one of us loves fighting. And we both like it, that's why we do it, and we're both good at it, that's why we do it. But one of us is so excited to hit, they don't care if they get hit. It's a very different person. Do you know what I mean? Even when you're mad, even when you're angry, and you're like, that's it, let's fight. You're trying to get the aggression out, and you want to hurt the other person. And yeah, maybe you're willing to take a few punches, but you aren't in a fight loving getting hit just so you can give a hit. It takes a different type of person, and Mike is a different type of person. You know? When you look at where Mike Tyson comes from, it's astounding that he made it to where he was. You know, Mike Tyson comes from Brooklyn, was in Bed-Stuy, and then at a young age moves to Bronzeville, and is devastating because it's not the Brooklyn that you know now. You know what I mean? Like there were no cupcake shops. It was Brooklyn in a way that was, let's say the property would be cheap, all right? Like if you were trying to buy, all right? Devastating conditions. And he talks about how there was just, you couldn't even go to the bathroom inside sometimes where they were staying and stuff. And all that stuff can make a hardened person. Because he didn't just have to live in certain conditions. He had conditions waiting for him when he got outside. He talked about it. He had to fight. He had to fight all the time. He had to be ready to be tough all the time. People will test you all the time, right? He talked about his first fight. Because like I said, Mike Tyson loves birds. It's truly one of the sweetest things about him. It's one of the things that like gives you a glimpse into the humanity of a person that's only known as being this fierce beast, right? Loving these birds, being gentle with them, caring for them, spending time with them, you know? Really taking care of them. And when he was a kid, there was a kid who took his bird. And he was like, give it back, give it back, give it back. And give it back, I think give it back genuinely in the way that a kid is asking you earnestly from the bottom of their heart, no, please, give it back, right? And that kid killed that bird in front of him. And then Mike Tyson, I'm assuming, killed that kid because he at least let him remember what would happen. And Mike would get into trouble, and it's easy to say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, right? All those things can be true. Obviously, you shouldn't be robbing people, you shouldn't be selling stuff, you shouldn't be out here with these people who are on a bad path and everything. But when you have what looks like no other option from those things, how can you expect someone to just know you drive down the path that's been paved, you know? And so he ends up in like detention centers and stuff like that. And at one point, Mike Tyson meets Customato. Customato sees him, and immediately he knows. He knows this kid is special and he's different. And not only just because he's built different, not only because he's big for his age, there's just something about him. And he gets the opportunity to like box a little bit. He goes to the gym, he's hitting bags and stuff, spars a little bit. And Customato sees in something in him. And after sparring, you know, as the story goes, they ask this kid who's just sparred with some grown men, how old are you? And then Mike goes, I'm 13. And then these grown men look at each other and go, this nigga at least 30. Like, there's no way. You better put a 0 behind that 13. That's, what? 13. And Customato, to my knowledge, actually adopts Mike Tyson. Takes him into his home, right? Not just to train him, but to care for him, to love him. You know? Because all this energy, all this fierce potential can really go somewhere if you nurture it, right? And then under Customato's leadership, Mike Tyson does become as fierce of a person as Customato thinks he can be in the ring. And Cus believed in him before he believed in himself. I think that's why their friendship, that mentorship is like, when you see it, there's something special about it. Because anyone who sees anything in any of us and pulls it out of you, right, just with their belief, that's a very special thing. And the only people that wish Customato hadn't done what he did are probably Mike's opponents. Because Mike would have fights that were so damn fast. You can see it even in the video, even in some of the amateur fights that were actually on video. You can see in the opponent where they were like, does he have a hammer? What is he doing? That really hurt. No. And then Mike gets older. Mike becomes world champion. Youngest world champion, right? In there with a boxer with real experience, who's also a special fighter, right? But Mike hits him in a way that maybe he's never been hit before. And if you go back and you watch the video of this knockout, I shouldn't laugh, but Mike didn't just knock this dude out. Like, he didn't knock him out cold, right? This dude gets knocked down again, and he's trying to get up, and you can tell that his body is like, dog, we done. Don't. No. You know, like when you're in a bar fight and your buddies hold you back? That was that guy's whole body. Like, you can even hear the announcer be like, oh, he's fighting to get up, but his body won't let him, because his body is like, parts of him that didn't get hit. This dude got hit in his head and the chin, and even his feet and his knees and his hips were like, look, if you ever want to speak to us again, don't stack us up on top of each other right now. You need to sit down. And then Mike Tyson becomes world champion. He becomes everything that Customato thought he could be. He becomes everything that he knew he was, right? It's a beautiful moment. And then it's important when you think of Mike Tyson to understand that Mike Tyson is America. A lot of Mike Tyson's story is how America works, right? There are parts of this country that if you travel to, you'll think you're in another country for how poor they are, how broken, the conditions that people are living in. You know, it looks like the developing world in some parts of America, and we don't like to talk about it. We especially don't like to take care of those people because it means we have to really look at ourselves to do it. But there are people that come out of those conditions that build themselves up into something that no one else could have imagined based on where they started, right? Mike Tyson is just like America. Mike Tyson is fierce, fearsome, you know, incredibly violent. People in other countries look at America the way that we look at Mike Tyson. Genuinely, if you travel, and I mean really travel, I'm not talking about just go to the tourist spots and the places that are popular to go. If you really travel and you know world history and you go to a place and you ask them about America, right? A country that we've attacked before, you know? They look at us like we have a tattoo on our face. Mike Tyson builds himself up, and he doesn't just get the world championship. He has some very, very impressive fights where you can average his whole fight time out to like maybe a round and a half. He's beating people so fast it's actually upsetting the crowd. I know people who paid a lot of money to go to a Mike Tyson fight and went in the bathroom at the wrong time. Sit there the whole fight card holding it, and then you're like, oh, he's only walking out, I got a second. And then from the bathroom you hear, oh. You're like, oh no. I mean, then Mike goes down a downward spiral. He loses Customato. He loses this person that was a mentor, that was a friend, you know? And he tries to find his way, but he's still very young. People forget how young he was when he was Mike, when he was Iron Mike, and he was fearless and he was undefeated, and starts, getting lost in it. And he'll tell you that. He's talked about that. He got lost, right? Goes to jail at one point. Like, this dude is on a dark path, And even, this is attributed to Mike Tyson. I don't know if he actually said it like this, but he was like, I was a baby, and you gave me millions of dollars to punch people in the face, and you didn't think this was gonna go off the rails somehow? Like, you didn't think that this was a bad idea, maybe? No. That's who's fighting. This guy who's relentless, So much fear. Imagine you're in the ring with Mike Tyson and he won't stop staring. Just the face-off, just watching the face-off, you would see it in his eyes. He's like, I would very much like to hurt someone today. And legally, it's you. And he was fast, and his movements were jerky, but they were quick, and they clearly hurt, because some very big men did not get up. He would hit people so hard sometimes that you'd be like, I think that guy's dead. And then he'd twitch, you'd be like, he's all right. That's who's fighting. And then you have Jake Paul. One thing people need to understand about Jake Paul, if you don't, he's very much, we are in Jake Paul's time. Whether we like it when I say that or not, he's having his Mike Tyson moments right now. World famous around the world. People tune in from around the world. They watch his fights, they watch his YouTube videos. This dude is a true bona fide star, right? And we can argue about if he's as popular as Mike was back then and why the internet is different, but he is very popular. And he loved boxing. He feels like boxing saved him. That's something similar that he has with Mike, because this kid, he got a camera from his dad, him and his brother, when they were young, and it was to film themselves while they were doing football so that they could improve, right? Which I don't know how that works. I don't play enough football. Like, if I did that and tried to tape myself playing football to improve, I think I would just be like, this is where I got hit. And this is when I hit the ground. I think that's all I did. I don't know was that right? Is that how you do it? And so him and his brother start making videos, like little YouTube videos, whatever. They're putting them online. They're getting some looks every now and again. But then Vine came out. And if you don't know what Vine is like TikTok granddaddy. And they start making Vines, and they get very popular almost overnight. They are huge on Vine. Everybody thinks they're funny, and they love to follow them. They want to know what they're doing next. They're getting all this money, endorsements, everything. At one point, Jake Paul is on the Disney Channel. I don't really know what he was doing, but it was quick. And then they start posting on YouTube and they start getting millions of subscribers on YouTube. These kids are bona fide popular and they understand something that maybe the rest of us just don't, and that's why they are where they are. They understand internet culture, they understand marketing and business, they understand the way that the world is turning, right? And it's the age of the influencer, right? And a lot of people want to be influencers, some people don't want to be. You can accidentally become famous, and that's a terrifying thing. You become famous in a way that you really didn't mean to, you know? You're just living your life. But somebody puts a cell phone on you, or you don't know you're in someone's shot, and you trip weird, and you go, and now you're, like that's who you are as a guy. And then people see you in the world, and they're like, hey, we love you, dude, we love, that's our favorite. Man, keep killing it, dog, keep killing it. But before you know it, just one thing, just one meme, just one moment catapults you to this level of fame that no person can be prepared for. Whether you're Mike Tyson in the 80s or you're Jake Paul now, people don't understand that like fame that you weren't even trying to get can mess with your mind, right? And so Jake Paul was on a dark path as well. He was probably headed for a bad place, and then he started boxing and he loved it. And boxing to a degree saved him. And so he's out here boxing, you know? And at first he starts fighting like YouTubers, like fellow YouTubers, because that garners attention. Because sometimes you see two people who don't like each other and you're like, man, it would be kind of funny if they fought. And this is the thing about us. We as people love a fight. Whether we like to admit that about ourselves or not, we love a fight. I've been walking down the street and seeing kids on the park sinking threes from far away, Steph Curry level, right? And I'm like impressed, and I maybe watch him do two more, and then I'm like, he's getting it in. He'll be fine. But if I see a fight in the park, I stop. Because I'm wondering, you know? But no, we're in this age where I think people sometimes want to be famous more than they want to do something. You know, and that's where you get some of these things, some of these imitators of Jake Paul, of Logan Paul and stuff like that. There was a kid whose story, like, it blew my mind. Basically, there was this kid doing these pranks, and they were like barely pranks. It was just being obnoxious. It was just being like horrible to people and messing with people to try to get a reaction out of them. Because not only are we the new like influencers, everyone, all of us, all the time, it could happen to any one of us, but because of how people become influencers, because of how people get popular, they are our paparazzi now. You're just living your life, but now you're in someone's video and they're trying to make you act a certain way. That's not what we signed up for, you know? You should at least be rich to have that happen. And so this kid was making this video and he was messing with this guy in the mall and he was following him around, and he was just like not just being annoying, he seemed like to also be intimidating him a little bit, and he was really following him, trying to get him to answer some question or something. And finally this little guy, he's like a very small guy, and he did not look well, right? He finally goes, stop, and then he pulled out a gun and shot him. And I am praying that's not him. This dude pulls out a gun and he shot him. There's this loud bang in the mall and people start screaming and running and everything. But from the vantage point of like the person who, because he posted it himself, the kid, the influencer who was making the prank video, posts the thing, and he's coming at him, and the guy's like, stop, bang. And then as soon as you hear the bang, this kid, the prankster, goes, oh! And to be fair, there's no cool way to get shot. But he goes, oh! And he hits the ground. And that guy walks off, and obviously he gets arrested and everything. They explain the situation. I believe he got released. And then this kid goes to the hospital. He's fine, right? He's fine. He got shot in the side, and he's fine. But when they ask him about it, they ask him how he feels about the fact that this thing happened. Like, is it change how he's going to make content? He got more followers from it happening because it got on the news, and people wanted to see the kid that got shot, and they wanted to see the other stuff that he did. So he did get more popular, right? And they wondered how he felt towards the gunman. This guy shot you, and you were being annoying, but did you deserve to be shot, right? And then this kid sitting in his hospital bed, his dad, by the way, is furious. His dad is like, there are people saying my son deserved to be shot. My son's just a kid, right? And this kid sitting in his hospital bed, when he's asked these questions, goes, it is what it is, dog. Like, which I can't tell, is that a good attitude about it? But it lets me know it's not just a few people. It's not just a few individuals. We're in an age, and it's an age of if I can be popular, maybe I can be safe, maybe I can be liked, maybe I can be something, whatever it is. But it's apparently worth being shot over for some people. And make no mistake, Jake Paul is America. I don't know how it feels to have me say that, but Jake Paul is America. A lot of what America embodies is what Jake Paul is, right? America is business, usually business first. We can worry about being a country later. It's business, and it's fame, and it's money, and it's influence, right? You go to some of these backdoor meetings that some of these world leaders have when America convinces them to do something. We don't know how they do it. Maybe it's with money. Maybe it's with other things. Maybe they're like, hey, look, we'd hate for something to happen to your whole island. Influence. See what I mean? And so now you have these two boxing, and people don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, there are people that want Mike Tyson to hurt Jake Paul very badly. And then there are people who just want to see a fight. They just want to see what it would look like. You know what I mean? They just want to see what it would look like if, like, that guy from The Breakfast Club fought Timothy Chalamet. Like, just... They just want to see two generations go at it. You know? Because let's be honest, it's an odd fight. You know, Jake Paul has fought former MMA fighters. He's fought former NBA players. He's fought YouTubers. He's fought one established boxer, maybe two pro boxers that I know of, right? Because I don't know his entire record. But he said that the thing that made him do this, the thing that made him push for it and create it, was he did some ayahuasca. And when he did the ayahuasca, he said he saw himself fighting Mike Tyson. And if I'm being honest, taking ayahuasca and seeing yourself fighting Mike Tyson sounds like something Mike Tyson would say doing ayahuasca. Like, I could more clearly see Mike Tyson doing ayahuasca, and he's like, I saw myself fighting Jake Paul. I don't know, man. I had to think to myself, you know, if I did ayahuasca and I saw myself fighting Mike Tyson, I'd probably have to sit back and be like, maybe heroin's the answer. Like, I don't know. This ayahuasca is not it for me. No, thank you. You know? And so, as soon as he had that vision, though, he put it into motion. And that's the marketer, that's the businessman, that's the promoter in Jake Paul. He saw this thing and he had to create it. That's also America, by the way. You go to other countries and you're like, oh, I have this big dream of doing this thing. A lot of countries are set in their ways, right? America is properly crazy. We'll let you do anything, fundamentally. And so now they have a press conference. They're together, and Jake Paul's very good at being the heel, you know what I mean? But it's hard to be the heel when you're fighting Mike Tyson. Like, people might be booing you, but he's saying truly upsetting things. Mike Tyson was in a press conference one time, and he was like, look, all I want is for his kids to be watching us fight and see me beat them so bad that they're like, Daddy, no. Hearing Mike Tyson quotes out loud genuinely makes me want to learn Tai Chi. So in case I ever come across Mike Tyson, I can look like I'm about to fight him while also backing up. Like, and some people think that the fight's just a spectacle. Some people think it's a real fight. There are kids who think Jake Paul's got to beat Mike Tyson, right? Jake Paul's a great boxer. Let's see it happen. I'm so excited to see Jake Paul whoop this guy. There really are both sides to this thing. And it's going to be on Netflix, which who knows if that's a mistake. Do you know what I mean? Who knows if they fight and then one of them dies and we're just sitting there like, so... Are we accomplices, or just sitting there, stoic, don't know what to do next, and Netflix is like, are you still watching? Not now, man. You know? And it's a gamble as well. It's a gamble. Is one of the biggest gambles we've seen, because Mike Tyson is, to some degree, putting his legacy on the line. He's one of the most fierce fighters that's ever lived. People talk about Ali and Tyson. When they talk about boxing, they don't really know anything about it. You know those names. And then Jake Paul's putting something on the line, too. It's like, I had this idea, I had this dream of fighting Mike Tyson, and maybe I'm just out of my mind and I'm going to be hurt very badly. And Netflix is putting something on the line because it's like, will people watch? Will someone die? It's a genuine gamble. And if America is anything, it's a proper gamble. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. I don't know. I admire an aspect of what Jake is doing, because Jake loves boxing. And no one will probably ever give him credit for it, but he is revitalizing a part of boxing. People talk about boxing a little bit more now because of the popularity that he brings in, the new kids that he brings in, and he's putting himself on the line because he loves boxing. And that, to me, is wild. Like, I love hip-hop, but I wouldn't try to battle Kendrick Lamar. Like...
Philadelphia, please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
When I was growing up, I had a friend who was like a latchkey kid, and he would get off the bus, and he had 2 hours to himself before his parents came home. So he'd get off the bus, he'd open the door in the house, he had full reign of the house. And we're still little, but he's like old enough to, go ahead and make himself a grilled cheese if he wants something, anything, just till his parents get home. And one day he comes home, and his parents had a get together the night before, and he sees laid out just a little bit left of some wine. And he's like, oh wow, I know that this is grown-up juice, but I want to try it because I'm not supposed to have it, because I know I'm not supposed to have it, right? And so picks it up, and he's weighing the options in his head. He's like, I could try it, but what if I get caught? I'd be in so much trouble. Oh, but I really want it. Maybe nobody will know. And he's going over and over it in his head to the point where he decides, I'm gonna just have a little sip. And he's bringing it to his lips, and then he ends up slipping it out of his hand, drops it, stains the carpet, right? So now he's freaking out because it's like, oh no, they'll know there wasn't a stain there when they left. This is all on me. And he did what a lot of kids would do in that scenario. He made it worse. He was like, the only thing, and I can understand he's a kid, but this is a mistake that I don't think I would have made. The best thing for him to do in that moment, he thought, was to make a bigger mess. And then that way, the stain won't be so bad. So he grabbed a rock and he threw it through the window. Which was a huge mistake because he went outside to get the rock and then threw it from inside outside. He realized what he had done as soon as he did it, so then he had to go back outside, grab the rock, carefully pick up all the glass, bring it back inside, lay out the glass next to the rock, next to the stain. You know? And then his parents get home, and when they come home, immediately they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? And you know, he's had an hour 20 to think up a story, you know? So he's over here like, it was crazy. They're like, what happened? You know, you got the rock going through the windows, all this glass on the floor and this stain. He's like, well, the stain's probably not as big of a deal as the broken window when you really think about it, right? And they're like, what happened? And he says, well, you know, the rock came through the window and it must have hit the glass that had the wine in it, the wine that really shouldn't have been left out. You know, that's an adult beverage. I'm a minor. And then it must have hit the perfect angle to hit that glass and this glass and then knock over and then make a stain on our beautiful 3-bedroom carpet. Yeah. And his parents were like, but did you see it happen? Like, how did this happen? Did somebody throw this? And he's like, uh-oh, because he didn't think that far. And so he was like, yeah, the man threw it. And they were like, what man? And now he's in deep because he's like, yeah, what man? What am I doing? And so he's like, yeah, there was a man that, you know, threw the rock through the window and everything. And you saw him? Yeah, I saw him. He threw it and you know, he ran and everything. And he thought maybe that would be the end of it. But from his parents' perspective, there was someone who threw a rock into the window, maybe to get inside while their son was home. So they had more and more questions, and he didn't know what to do. He was freaking out, you know? Next thing he knows, the police have been called, and the police come over, and they're like, what did the man look like? And they over here taking notes and stuff, and he's like, he doesn't know what to say next because he didn't think this far. And that's how I feel like Trump must feel about Epstein, because it goes so deep. It's like he didn't think this far in the lies. Like he just didn't account for it. He thought he could make it quiet, you know? It's not going to be pitched as a direct and absolutely direct order from Trump, what the DOJ did, but the DOJ came out after interviews saying, oh, there's so much information, we're just trying to figure out how to put it out there in a way that's clear. Oh, there's so many files, there's a list of names, there's logs, there's a client list. After saying all this stuff in the media, the DOJ comes out and says, actually, the investigation is closed. We're not going to be prosecuting anybody else. And I think we got to the bottom of it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That's not going to stand at all. That's not going to stand with anybody. Because you got to remember who Trump garnered with this belief that he released the Epstein files. He's got MAGA, sure, but he also has Q. Nobody talks about Q anymore, but they're still around. And they believe deeply that Donald Trump is going to be the one to unleash all of the truth. All the evidence will come out. When Trump is president, he'll turn over everything on the powerful cabal that has been victimizing people across the world. And then he's like, hey, yeah, there's no. And I think he thought that he could really bury it, that he could truly bury it. But he's wrong. He's wrong because there are a lot of things that he didn't account for. There are people that Trump controls. There are people who he orders around, and there are people who blindly follow him, sure. But he didn't count on things like Jeffrey Epstein talking before he died to a biographer for like 100 hours, like just a ridiculous amount of time. I have friends I don't think I've spoken to for 100 hours. 100 hours, you probably say a lot of nothing, and you probably say some pretty interesting stuff. Those 100 hours of conversation is how we know that Trump and Epstein were tight for years. Well, even Epstein said he knows some of the inner workings of the White House because him and Trump would just chop it up. You know what I mean? That's heavy. That's a lot to try to sidestep. And Trump's been making mistakes this whole time. Even when Epstein died, right? Epstein dies, he was in jail and he passed. Who can say how? And, Ghislaine Maxwell gets, charged, has a whole trial, gets convicted, sentenced to 20 years in prison. And apparently what we're hearing now is that at the time, Trump floated pardoning her. And the people that heard that almost couldn't believe it. Why would he pardon her? That's crazy. And it's like, actually, it's not that crazy when you see the picture of all them hanging out, like, in the 90s, and they met in the 80s, and they used to fly around together. Like, that's his buddy. And he even said himself, these are his words out of his mouth, when asked about Ghislaine Maxwell during the trial, he said, I wish her well. Somebody that's on trial for trafficking. Somebody with ties to you. I wish her well. And then people were like, why would you wish her well? And then they brought it up again, and Trump was like, I wish lots of people well. And we were like, no, you don't. I've been watching you the whole time. I don't think you wish anybody well that I've seen. All you come up with is nicknames. Man floated pardoning her. That's crazy. And then the DOJ comes out, hey, yeah, this is done. Nothing else to see here. And people were having a hard time wrapping their heads around that. People who usually stump for Trump hard. No matter what he says, they manage to twist it in a way that maybe could make sense to you, and they'll say that that's what he means. One of the reasons that Trump can do everything that he does and it comes off a different way to everybody is because so many people think that they're the Trump whisperer. Trump will say something out of nowhere, and then there'll be people like, well, what he actually meant was something more reasonable that I'm going to say right now. And I'll be like, that's interesting, because he didn't say any of those words in that order when he was speaking. And I think he had a teleprompter, so I don't see how that's possible. And so everybody thinks that they can be the Trump whisperer, and it's just not working this time. You see people trying to come up with why Trump, why the FBI, why the Attorney General would all of a sudden, what feels like out of nowhere, try to shut this whole thing down, right? Alex Jones, of all people, saw what the DOJ did, and he made a video crying. I think it's very important. when,
when a man shows emotion, not to just ridicule him for it because it's easy. But Alex Jones cries weird. Alex Jones cry weirder than anybody I've ever seen in my life. I don't wish anything good for Alex Jones, but to see him cry felt like something happened to me too. Like it's, Alex Jones is up here like, folks. Like his eyelids were doing sit-ups, crying. I'm sick to my stomach, and I just can't believe this thing is happening. Wipe your face, dog. Like, and even Alex Jones trying to come up with something. He's like maybe the deep state got to him, and the deep state is like in his body, and that's why he's doing this stuff right now. And then he'll be back to normal after he has one of my protein shakes. You can go to my website and buy frog protein for $19.99. No, it was crazy. Because Alex Jones, you gotta remember, this dude is a proper conspiracy theorist. Old school. There's something deeper behind everything at all times. And I'm not talking about like chemtrails. I'm not talking about like government operations. There's something deeper behind everything that happens all the time. Hillary Clinton went on The Tonight Show. Pretty sure this was on The Tonight Show, and she was trying to open a jar of pickles, right? I don't remember what the bit was, but that's what was happening. And Alex Jones pulled it up, and right after she opened the jar, he was like, you see? Do you see what happened right there? Hillary Clinton didn't open that jar. Now, in the video, she has opened the jar. Hillary Clinton didn't open that jar. That jar was pre-opened. All right? You can tell because there was no pop. There's supposed to be a pop. There's supposed to be a... There's supposed to be a... There was no... I brought the same jar. I'm going to open for it right now. And this man spends a while trying to open the jar. He spends an uncomfortable amount of time trying to open the jar. I think at one point he even had a rag too. You know, like those kitchen tricks you use? He over here, you know, sometimes you like tap the top of it, you like... And he's like, I can't even open it right now, folks. That's how you know this thing right here, she didn't open that jar. So imagine Alex Jones on Epstein. No. I just think about the way that MAGA has been reacting, because it is a full-on revolt. Truly, it's a thing that they cannot fathom is happening. Whether it's Q, whether it's MAGA, or whether it's just people who have been following the Epstein case from the beginning. Because you got to remember what Epstein stands for. He is the ultimate boogeyman. He is the ultimate beacon for people that believe that all the elites are in on something together. And it's easy to make him that because he had an island, billionaires were flying around, people went to him for tax advice and for law advice. He was this financier, even though I don't think he had a law degree and he wasn't a CPA. So it's like, what are you doing with people's taxes that you helping? And so this dude, he represents a lot. He stands for a lot in conspiracy theory world and in just the regular world. This is someone who has ties to billionaires, to royalty, who come to him for horrific acts. And now you're telling us, there's nothing else to see here. There's nothing else to see between, me and him especially. There's nothing. Don't look. Stop. And so then Trump, for his part, is watching this whole thing go down, and he's watching people argue about it in front of him, people who are in his administration and on his side, argue about the best way to handle it, going back and forth. Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, all names that sound like they're about to be called down on The Price is Right. Like, all three of them are constantly going at it because then, Bongino is upset with Pam because he thinks that Pam overpromised and underdelivered and everything. Why would you even say that this stuff was coming unless you had a plan? You were just talking in front of the camera. And then Pam is going back at him and Trump's watching this whole thing. And then in a press conference, they even asked him, they actually asked Pam Bondi a question about the tapes and the DOJ's memo and everything. And Pam Bondi was ready to answer. She was about to speak and Trump interrupted her. He's like, hey, look, are we still talking about this guy? What? Like why? Like years? Like why? Like everybody's talking about this dude. Like what's the point? You know what I mean? Like it's just. I mean, I'm sick of this for you, Pam. You don't even feel like answering, do you? And Pam didn't catch. She wasn't quick enough. She was like, no, I don't mind answering. And I know Trump had to be sick when that happened. It's like, no, go ahead and answer then. And, Pam Bondi talked about how they had released a lot of stuff, because there's a difference between releasing evidence around a case or releasing vital information or declassifying things and then releasing stuff, right? So they released a bunch of stuff to look like they were releasing something. Like they released the videotape of the night that Epstein got up out of here. And the problem with the tape is that it's always been talked about as if there was a tape of his cell that would prove definitively that like nothing untoward happened, right? But the tape isn't of like Jeffrey Epstein's cell with him sitting there and everything. It's of like a hallway. And you're giving a tape to conspiracy theorists. They're gonna do some extra looking. There's like 10 hours of tape. But there is 61 seconds missing. I don't know how long it takes to kill somebody. But if there's 61 seconds missing, I'm assuming that it takes 50 seconds and gives you 11 seconds to get down the hall. And I'm not even saying that's what happened, by the way. I'm just saying 61 seconds, that's weird. And they asked Pam Bondi about it. And Pam Bondi is like, look, it's a very old system from the 90s where the tape resets at midnight. So it takes a second to like reset, and that's why 61 seconds are missing. And I had a lot of questions. I had a ton of questions. One, my first question, didn't even concern Epstein. My first question was, why are you telling everybody that? Because that is very valuable information if you're a prisoner in that. Because you know what they play in prison, the news. You probably sit there in Gen Pop like, wait, it what? Every day? I gotta go take care of something. So she says, look, this is the way that system works. So we're actually gonna be supplying more video footage to show that there's a minute missing every night. And I was like, why would you say that? The people in prison can hear you. But also, that's a pretty bad system. It was supposed to be watching somebody and it takes a minute to blink. That's pretty wild. That it's just gonna be missing every day, and you're telling us that like it's not an issue at all. Felt crazy to me. And then they release the video, and then people go digging, they go looking. And one of the things they find is that the video has been doctored. Somebody at some point ran the video through Adobe Premiere and did something. And I'm not saying, look. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Adobe Premiere, all right? All I'm saying is I would have thought the government, with all their resources, you know what I mean? Like the government would have like a special program. That just feel pretty cheap to make an Adobe Cloud account that you run this Epstein tape through. Like nobody's gonna know, so then people are wondering about the missing minute. They're wondering about how this video's been tampered with. And then even people who watch the full 10 hours of the video, because you gotta remember, some of these people are dedicated. They're like, there's actually a guard that leaves one way and never comes back, which proves that there's two ways to enter that hallway. And I was like, oh man, he's so screwed. Trump, he's very good at creating a distraction, and he tries. He did his best. He said that he was gonna revoke Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. On any other day in American history, that would be a headline. Any other day, that'd be wild. And look, Rosie O'Donnell and Donald Trump have what I think is now like a 20-year feud going on, which is absolutely insane. The President of the United States has the ultimate and deepest beef. His arch nemesis is the actress from Harriet the Spy. That is mind-boggling. The leader of the free world is ready to have it out at any given moment with the voice actress from the main gorilla in the Disney movie Tarzan. The man with his fingers on the button for the nukes has a deep hatred in his heart, decades long, for Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award winner Rosie O'Donnell. This is an unacceptable timeline. That is crazy. I don't even know what Rosie O'Donnell did that day. Like, I don't know what even brought it up. But he says, you know, I'm thinking about revoking Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. If Ireland wants to keep her, they could have her. And any other day, this would be the story. He knows that. Who knows? Look, I'm of two minds about this thing because it is clearly a distraction, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But I'm of two minds about this thing because, one, obviously, there's a world where he's just like saying stuff to say stuff to like swiftly like move the news cycle in another direction, and he may not do anything. But the fact, as a sitting president, that he would even muster up the corner of his thumbs to put that into a phone to go out to the world is so deeply insane. Because this thing that he's doing now is not just a step too far, it's the entire field too far. Rosie O'Donnell is an American citizen, a citizen. And so if he can do that, then truly, 100%, without a doubt now, nobody is safe. What started this whole like immigration fear-mongering, you gotta remember, because you have to understand, as a platform, people have been running on it as long as there have been, you know, green cards and immigration programs. Oh, is it a little too much? Oh, we don't like what it's doing to the landscape of our neighborhood and everything. And people have won votes on it. That's nothing new. But what's turned is the way that people are openly nasty and disgusting about it. There's always been racism in it. It's mainly what it is. you know? Because if you really cared about people coming over the right way, the legal way, then you would make the right way and the legal way clear, and you wouldn't kidnap people at their green card interviews, and you wouldn't have like mass people picking people up after baseball practice, okay? If that's what you cared about. And you also, you know, you've structured this thing to make these people seem like monsters. That's been the plan this entire time, because if somebody is a monster, it is part of the human condition and a flaw that we have. As long as we see somebody as a monster, whether they are or not, we don't really care what happens to them. You know? It's why they can make conditions in prison so bad. Because the assumption is, well, everybody that's there deserves to be there, so screw them, right? If they don't have clean water, or if they can't shower, or if their food's contaminated, good. Because they did something bad to earn that place, right? And it helps you strip the basic humanity of looking at another person, whether they've made a mistake or not, or looking at another person, whether from a different country or not. And if you get really good at stripping that humanity away, you can do whatever you want, and then you start to be able to do whatever you want to anybody that you want. And that's what's been creeping up this entire time. What started as like, guys, they're eating the dogs. Remember, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Nobody's pets are safe. It was getting so dumb. It was past like, these are criminals and they're killing us and they're coming over here to do terrible things. And then it started to morph a little bit more. Okay, look, I know that they're going through the proper channels and everything, but they have a misdemeanor in another country. Do we really want somebody like that to become a citizen? Maybe we should deport them now. No, I understand that they have their green card, but they also, I don't know, they have this weird past out like, or they wrote an op-ed I didn't like, or they said a thing that I didn't like. So do we really want someone like that in our country? I know that they are a fully naturalized citizen, but the way that they became a citizen is a little bit under suspect, because I said so just now. So maybe we'll deport them. And now we're all the way to the point that American citizens that I do not like can be gone. And so you see, when you let somebody's humanity get stripped away over and over and over again, and it's in the back of your head, and you even go with the lie. They probably did something, or maybe they shouldn't have done that thing, or maybe they have a good reason. When you do that enough and it finally comes for you, don't be surprised. Because the thing with the Rosie O'Donnell, it's like there's a part of it that I think is nothing. I'm not saying that thing is absolutely gonna happen. I'm just also saying that the fact that he even fixed his fingers to put it out is a problem. And normally, on any other day, it would have been such a problem that it's what everyone on the news would have been talking about. But this was a different day. This was a day where Dan Bongino is so upset he doesn't even report into work. He's tired of arguing with Pam Bondi. He might resign. Other people are talking about resigning. This Epstein thing isn't going away. And so then Donald Trump did what he does best, what he does in a crisis, and what he does when it counts. He made it worse. Like a kid throwing a rock through his own window. He makes it so much worse. And now Trump is dealing with that fallout. There are people calling for Pam Bondi to resign. There are people that are asking Trump extra questions. And then Trump crashes out spectacularly while y'all were probably parking. And so I'm gonna do this real quick. I don't like to use my phone or bring my phone out often, but I have to read you what Trump posted. And admittedly, look, I'm gonna read every word that he posted, all right? But I will be doing it the way that I read it in my head. This is insane. What's going on, my boys? Boys in quotations. Oh no, what's going on with my boys? Boys in quotations. And in some cases, gals? Also in quotations. Are you asking us a question about what's going on with them, or are you confused about the gals specifically? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job, all caps. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect, all caps, administration, the talk of the world, all caps, and selfish people, in quotes, are trying to hurt it, all over a guy who never dies. What? I'm not saying that Trump killed Epstein. I'm not saying that at all. I'm like specifically not saying that. I need you to understand that I am explicitly not saying that Trump killed Epstein. I'm just saying that if I was like driving in my car and I hit somebody and I somehow got away with it, but I saw them every time I closed my eyes, I'd be like, this guy never dies. All over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. This is a man who hasn't slept. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama? You know what's so good about files written by Obama is that Trump was sitting there knowing he know Epstein. Trump knows Epstein so well. They were friends. Trump lived so close to Epstein in Florida that Epstein had to knock on his door and let him know he was on the sex offender registry. Like, that's how close they lived together. He knocked on the door, was like, hi, the court has ordered me to notify you that I'm in the area. I have been convicted of a few crimes, and I left my suit jacket over here last night, so that's crazy. By Obama, and it's a list. It's why are we giving publicity to files? You know what it also is? This man was sitting here knowing that he knows Epstein. He's sitting here knowing that this looks very bad. And he did the DOJ thing, even though it's not directly tied to him, even though the president isn't allowed to interfere. He clearly did the DOJ thing where he told them to shut it down. And now people are rebelling against him. And he's sitting there like, how can I make it DEI? Obama. Thanks, Obama. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration? So I guess they were all in a room in this scenario, and they wrote the files together in tandem. Like, Obama just knew that everyone in the Biden administration would be in the Biden administration one day, so he gathered them all together. But this is also before Epstein ever died or anything, so Obama time traveled to like right after to know it would hurt Trump, so then he came back in regular time and he sat down Hillary Clinton, Comey, Brennan, and the loser. He had to get all the losers and criminals of the Biden administration in one room so they could write. Also, wrote the files? Isn't it a bunch of documents? And the losers and criminals of the Biden administration. I do like that he said there are criminals in the Biden administration, but there are some people who aren't criminals. They're just losers. But I want to make sure I address them too. You're not safe. You're not safe just because you're not a criminal if you're a loser as well, all right? In fact, you're a loser because you're not a criminal, all right? I have 34 felony convictions, and I'm the president, okay? You out here not even a criminal. You can't even criminal good. Loser. And the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with Russia, Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, intelligence is in quotes, the laptop from hell. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I really don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like Hunter Biden's laptop or a laptop with Hillary's emails on it, or if he just had a bad experience with an HP laptop. But like, that is also in all caps. The laptop from hell and more, question mark. They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake, all caps, Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me. And now my so-called friends, this man hurt because my so-called friends, as a world leader, my so-called friends is the most Regina George Mean Girls line I've ever heard in my entire life. My so-called friends is wild. Foreign diplomats, world leaders had a dinner that Trump was at, and they made fun. This is his first term. They made fun of him at the dinner. He could probably hear him in the background. They were laughing. It was like Boris Johnson and Justin Trudeau and other people, and they were over here doing him. They were over here like just making fun of him hard, cracking up, talking about how he doesn't know how to spell, everything. They were getting him good. They were roasting him. And then this man comes back to the U.S. and I'm pretty sure it was Fox News that played the tape that somebody got of them making fun of him, not with a bunch of audio, and his head was down a little bit. You could tell his feelings were hurt, for real. And he was looking down and everything. And he just said, yeah, I didn't know that, like, they were, like fake like that or anything. Even in that moment, he didn't say my so-called friends. My so-called friends is insane. And now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? And this is good. This is clever. He's doing what he does. This is the Republican talking point that's going to go around, look for it over and over and over again. Well, why didn't Biden release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could hurt Trump, that could derail MAGA, why didn't he release it? All right, that's the most I know you are, but what am I logic I've ever heard in my life? Because you're the president now, so you could release them. I know that Biden didn't release them, but you could release them. You could. You could release them if you wanted. You could, like I dare you. No, I'm just saying, like I dare you. I bet you won't. I bet you're too scared. I bet you won't. But you could. I know Biden did it, but you're the president now, and I thought you were a better president, so you could. You could do anything that Biden didn't do. You said that. You were like, there's a bunch of things Biden can't do that I can do, that only I can do, and one of those things is release the Epstein files. Like, do it. I bet you won't do it, though, because you're scared. No, it's just funny, man. This man, he's going through it. Why didn't they use it? They haven't even given up on the John F. Kennedy or the MLK Jr. files, which is a terrible idea to bring up different conspiracy-laden things while you talk about there not being a conspiracy. That's crazy. That's a terrible move. This man is derailing. No matter how much success we have had securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, a safer world where Iran will not have nuclear weapons, it's never enough for some people. This man is spiraling. It's never enough for some people is not what a president says. It's never enough for some people is not how you speak as a president. That's how you speak as a dad who just finished a 16-hour shift and somebody tells you to take out the trash. It's never enough for you people. Every day, I've been awake for 24 hours. It's my birthday. Yeah, thanks for the time. It's never enough for some people. We are about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years. And that's true. That's true. We're all going to die. And we have so much more to do. We are saving our country and making America great again, all caps, which will continue to be our complete priority, all caps. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Let Pam Bondi do her job, all caps. She's great, all caps. Caps. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's what she's looking into as AG, and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead, all caps. Now it's the hottest, all caps, country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. There's a thing I read about a long time ago. There was this leader named Father Yod, and Father Yod was the head of the Source family. The Source family was this collection of people. Some people called them a cult and everything, but they mostly kept to themselves. Like, they ran like a vegan restaurant, I think, and they just minded their own business. But one of the most interesting things about Father Yod was Father Yod told them early on, before it was ever even really a cult, before there were even a lot of members, I'm God, and don't go to a hospital. That was his thing. And that happens in a lot of cults, by the way. Don't go to the hospital because hospitals are full of experts who can provide answers that I can't. So if I can cut you off from other experts, if I can cut you off from people reasoning in a way that is just direct with logic, I've already started to bring you into the fold in a way that you'll never leave. And so Father Yod would tell them, don't go to a hospital, right? And so they didn't. Members of the Source family would not go to a hospital. And they did what I would say was generally well for a cult as far as length. A lot of cults fall apart in those first few years. You know what I mean? First year, everything sort of starts out good. Everybody's just having a good time, making friends, living in a commune and everything. And then year two, somebody try to get you drink something or do something else. Just people start coming for your mouth, you know what I mean? And all sorts of ways that get uncomfortable, and that's usually when the cult falls apart, because there are people that are like, ooh, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna drink that, ooh, that's weird, no, I'm gonna go, right? And then that's when leaders sort of crumble and start having power grabs, and they get paranoid and everything. This didn't really happen, at least from what I read, to the Source family, Father Yod, and they stayed together long enough that there were members of the community that started coupling and even having children. And it got to the point where they were about to have the first baby born into the Source family, but they can't go to a hospital. They can't go to a hospital, and something feels wrong. And no one can really describe what it is, but basically this member starts going into labor in real time. So everybody is looking over to Father Yod. You said you were God. You told us not to go to the hospital. I think you're gonna have to deliver this baby. And so this man does it. He delivered the baby, but when the baby came out, it wasn't making any noise. And it wasn't moving at all. And people started crying. Everyone was devastated. There was so much joy around having a new person in the family. And Father Yod, he did something. I don't know what he did, but the members described it as him just clearing the airway gently a little bit, and out of nowhere, after all that silence, after no movement, the baby cried and it started moving. And if he thought he had followers then, if he thought that they were believers then, we don't need a hospital. And it got to the point where one day Father Yod was like, you know what, I'm done with this whole earthly thing. I'm tired of healing y'all and everything. Everybody coming up to me all the time, I got a cold. And, Because that's what he would do. People would like have a cold and then he'd be like, blah, 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 and then they would still have a cold and they just get over it in 2 weeks because it was a cold, right? But then when they finally got over the cold, he'd walk by and be like, did it? And it's like, all right, well. And so, there's one day Father Yod said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take a vacation. Get away from y'all for a little bit. I'll come back, but I'm gonna take a vacation. I'm gonna take it in heaven. And so he got on a 1,300-foot cliff with a glider. Because I guess he thought he was gonna glide up enough to just like get to heaven's front door or something. Like this man is truly like lost to the sauce, right? He been leading the cult too long. He believe him now. I wish I had half the confidence. Because that's so crazy to think you're just gonna fly up to heaven and stay up there, but you also need a glider. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least people on ecstasy think they gonna just fly immediately, you know? This dude gets on the glider, takes off, and never did this before in his life. Wasn't trained or anything. And so he jumps off the cliff in the glider, and he goes perfectly down. He goes straight down. This man, a bow, right? And so the followers like, oh, he went the wrong way. And then they come down the cliff and everything, and they come to get him. He laid out. I can't even do it. He laid out. He laid out like, but not like busted up. He's not dead. He's laid out like this. And didn't have any, to what I read at least, he didn't have any significant, any substantial like bruising or markups on his body. Another miracle, you would think. Turns out everything stayed intact, but his guts were all upside down. Like this man stayed perfectly in his body, but his lungs were in his feet. Like he and so they run up on him, and he over here laid out like, I can't even do it right. Like he laid out like, when they find him, glider crash, he laid out like this. And they run up there like, Father, Father. And he's like, get me to a hospital. Get me to a hospital. Now. And the followers are like, what? And he's like, yeah, the one on 32 Roscoe, please. Hurry up and get me to a hospital. And there's different accounts of this. I'm sure that there's followers that say he never asked for a hospital. I'm sure there's followers that say he asked for a hospital immediately. But this dude is like, get me to a hospital. And then the followers are like, what? Why though? Like, you said never go to a hospital. You said that that's not real science in there. You said that you get sicker if you go to a hospital. We can't take you to a hospital. And he said, get me to a hospital. I'm serious. Oh, I feel something upside down. You know what it probably sounded like? I mean, I'm not there. We don't have the footage or anything. But I imagine if you fall 1,300 feet down, you probably sound like that grape lady. Remember that grape lady that was crushing the grapes? Then she fell, and then she went, arr, 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 arr. Off camera, we didn't see her. Because I'm sure when he said, get me to a hospital, they really didn't understand what he was saying at first, because he was like, get me to a, I think my spine behind my balls, get me to a hospital. But then my man looked intact. So they're like, no, he doesn't need a hospital, he just needs rest. And then he died 9 hours later. And so when I see the way that like MAGA is turning on Trump, it just feels so much like, why would you? Wait. Why would he lie? He really doesn't understand. Trump truly doesn't understand why this thing won't go away. And it's because he doesn't understand people, you know? Whether it's, you know, the MAGA base, whether it's Q, whether it's anybody online, anybody interested or concerned about anything to do with Epstein, all those people are people. So if you lead people on and you lie to people, they have a reaction. You can't just get something and give nothing in return. And people won't let it go, and they won't give up on it, because this man is real. He really existed. And he really destroyed a lot of lives. And for all of our faults as humans, we care about that. And so no, we're not just gonna let it go. It's not like some passing fad of a thing. I think it is to him, because he just uses what he needs while he needs it to get what he wants. And once he has it, he throws it or the person who gave it to him away. And it's something that some people are finding out right now, that he'll betray you on a dime. Nothing matters to him. Because if this thing doesn't matter to him, then nothing matters to him at all. There's no way around it. People care because vulnerable people were victimized for a very long time. And whatever part you had to do with that, it can't be covered up, because there's nothing that screams, I'm in the Epstein files, like, stop looking for the Epstein files. One thing that I thought was incredible, one thing that put a smile on my face, was when Rosie O'Donnell responded to Donald Trump talking about revoking her citizenship. And I know I don't like to pull out my phone, but I want to read you what she said. You can actually look. You can actually. This is on her Instagram, so you can actually look this up for yourself. I'm not kidding. This is crazy. So first thing she does is post a picture of Trump and Epstein together, which is genuinely hilarious. And is Rosie O'Donnell posted in the caption, "Hey Donald, you rattled again? 18 years later, I still live rent-free in that collapsing brain of yours." I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I watch the news all the time. I watch people try to defend Trump. I watch people attack Trump, and I'm chronically online. So I watch people insult Trump all day long, and I have never come across collapsing brains. Collapsing brain would actually explain everything. It would explain the made-up words. It would explain the spelling. You call me a threat to humanity, but I'm everything you fear: a loud woman, a queer woman, a mother who tells the truth, an American who got out of the country before you set it ablaze. You built walls, I built a life for my autistic kid in a country where decency still exists. You crave loyalty, I teach my children to question power. You sell fear on golf courses, I make art about surviving trauma. You lie, you steal, you degrade. I nurture, I create, I persist. You are everything that is wrong with America, and I am everything you hate about what's still right with it. You want to revoke my citizenship, go ahead and try. King Joffrey with a tangerine spray tan. Jeez. I'm not yours to silence, I never was, and then it's the Irish flag signed Rosie. And if I'm being honest, I just never expected, I never expected the President of the United States to be so effectively eviscerated by one of the supporting actresses from A League of Their Own. Like, it just feels wild that this is life. Philly, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I hope you had a fantastic time. I had so much fun with you. Thank you for an incredible weekend at the Fillmore. Thank you for 8 sold-out shows. I appreciate you so much.
Give it up for Josh Johnson!
Before I came here in San Francisco, there was a pirate. No, it gets worse. There was a pirate threatening a tourist from Brazil with a blowtorch, right? Which, as a pirate, you really shouldn't even have, because you're supposed to be on boats, you're supposed to be around a lot of wood. You shouldn't even have a blowtorch. That's not even a useful weapon for you, right? It should have been a sword. It should have been like a flint pistol, something. That would have made sense. If he had a flint pistol and he pulled it on him, even in the streets of San Francisco, I'd be like, he's on theme. But a full-on blowtorch, how, right? And when I tell you that this man was a pirate, I don't just mean that he was dressed like a pirate. I think he was a pirate. Like, I think he didn't seem like land was treating him well, okay? And so now he has a blowtorch, right? And he's cursing out this person who apparently is this tourist from Brazil, which also, if you're a tourist, I'm not saying don't go to San Francisco, but I'm saying if you are an international tourist coming to the United States, especially for the first time, and the first thing that happens when you get here is a pirate. A pirate roll up on you with a blowtorch, which in any language is confusing, by the way. Like, you don't need to be speaking English to understand that this is a wild scenario that's happening right now, right? And so, they're over here arguing. Now, the person who really saved the day was someone that worked at a coffee shop that saw what was happening outside, right? And so then they ran up and they were sneaking up behind the pirate, right? Getting real. Yeah, and it was one of those sneak ups where I was like, ooh, if he turned around, you cooked. Like, if he turned around, because he was quick with it, but he was very smooth with all his movements. But it took him a while to like get close, right? Like, he was. You know what it looked like to me? Okay, like when you go to the zoo and something went wrong, and so then one of the zookeepers like trying to get them back in the cage. Or they trying to like let them know that kid in front of you, that's not food, but they getting close real slow. Like, they're just like, okay, buddy, all right. It's because you know what it is? You can tell the level of danger somebody knows they're in as they approach it by the hip movement. Because he wasn't just walking up like sneak up, he really like was pivoting. As he was getting in, he was like, all right. Okay, all right. It feels like if you use hips only to move forward, nobody will hear you. It's like almost a universal thing when people try to sneak up, That's why you don't see, you like, that's not how your grandparents sneak up or whatever. Because if they tried it, like if your grandma tried to sneak up behind you real good and everything, you just be hearing. So she's like, I'm gonna have to lean, right? But anyway, this dude is like sneaking up behind him, getting real close, and in an instant, snatches the blowtorch and runs off, right? So now we've sort of neutralized the main threat. But the pirate was like,
You think I need that blowtorch? I'm a pirate in San Francisco. On the streets in 2024, I don't need weapons. My presence alone is a threat. And so then somebody's filming the whole thing, which normally I'm like, why do people do this? Why do people film instead of help? You know what I mean? Like, why do people just from afar and then they're filming and this is another person who could have been helping that because that guy's sneaking up by himself. He's just, you know what I mean? But then as someone who watches all the videos, I do get it. Like I do. You want to criticize it, but if it wasn't for this guy filming, I wouldn't know this was happening. This didn't make the news. It's just regular San Francisco 5 p.m., right? So then, you know, sneaking up, snatches the blowtorch, runs off, right? Now, as he's running off, now this was almost cinematic. You couldn't have planned this better. Because as the coffee shop worker who was running off with the blowtorch passes the camera, like right as his head past the camera, you see that the pirate had already started punching, right? So it was just boom like that, right? Now this guy tries to roll with it, and he had good form, especially for a tourist that is being approached by a pirate. I would have just been hit. I would have just been like I don't think I would have moved. Like this dude really rolled with the punch. Now this is when the two nudists come into the picture, right? Because there were some nudists that were there anyway. They were gonna be naked no matter what. So when the two nudists come up, they're like, this is what we do. We didn't get, because a part of you, if you don't know anything about the culture, you thinking like, oh, they see a pirate, they're like, it must be safe to get naked. They just let you do whatever you want. So they were naked anyway, right? So then one of the nudists sees what just happened, sees that this tourist has been assaulted by this pirate. So then he run up and come in with his, it was really beautiful sequence, because basically the pirate was like, bow, right? And then the nudist comes up and it's like, bow. And then when the nudist swings, okay, so the nudist hit so hard that he did lose his footing, right? So then him and the pirate both fall. And now this is the first point in time where the pirate looks like somebody in this scenario is more uncomfortable than me, right? Like because you see, okay, so the pirate punches that dude and he's clearly like having his own journey, right? But what snaps him back to reality in a moment's time is not only being hit by the nudist, but when they both fall, you can see the pirate. Okay, so the pirate his back is to the camera and you can't really hear him, but you can hear this little like, and then him and the nudist are getting up. Now, if you think, I try to put myself in the mindset of everybody involved in the video, right? Because there's a lot going on, you know? We already got this hero who snatched the blowtorch. Now, this person, we don't know how long they've lived in San Francisco. We don't know how long they worked at the cop shop. We don't know how long they've known this pirate, right? But the way they sprung into action, you could tell it was like, I have to do something, right? They took it upon themselves. Now, as the tourist, I've already mentioned, you being accosted by this pirate, that's weird enough to make a person freeze, right? But for a second, I want all of us to put ourselves in the mind of the pirate, all right? Because the pirate, we don't know exactly what was going through this individual's mind, but we know it was something to do with maybe this tourist, maybe he thinks this tourist stole some of his booty, maybe he thinks, maybe the tourist is standing on the X that he's trying to dig right now. We don't know what's going through his mind, okay? All we know is that he feels emboldened enough and passionate enough to start swinging. And as soon as he starts swinging, he gets a right cross from out of nowhere. He doesn't know anybody else is in this situation with him except this guy. And so then he gets his right cross, so he fall, and then the person that hit him also fall. And then when he looks forward, he sees a naked man. So you can see, even on the pirate, like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. This is too much. Wouldn't that be funny if the pirate was like, I'm a Christian, I don't really... But the pirate is also like getting up and everything. Now, the nudist was fast. So the nudist got up before the pirate really knew what happened, because you could tell the pirate calibrating. Like, when did he get naked? Was he always naked behind me? You could tell the pirate got other stuff on his mind. So he tried to get up, but he's also like, when did this guy... And so then the nudist gets up, and the nudist tries to get another lick in before the pirate can get up, because to be fair to everybody involved, you don't know how quick and strong this pirate is, right? Like, is this a PCP pirate? Or is this a meth pirate? Or is this a crack pirate? We don't know. There are categories. And we don't know which one he falls into. You got your first lucky shot on him, and that didn't knock him out, so now you're in trouble, right? So the nudist gets up quick, and when the nudist, okay, he goes to do this thing that you really only see happen in like bus fights, where the pirate's still on the ground, and he tries to do a little like, wow, like he tries to do like an uppercut as he's getting up, and I think he misses. He either missed or it didn't faze the pirate at all. He probably got hit and was still like, where did this guy come from? Because also the nudists were white. And so it's on top of seeing a naked man, you just seeing like, you seeing shades of pink coming at you. Because you got to remember, this dude is ready to fight. So you're not in a regular fight with another dude. Like, also, by the way, I'm pretty sure if I remember the video correctly, the tourist has not left, but he has taken... He's taking the position of an audience member. He's just like, man, he's crazy. And so then the pirate tries to get that extra lick in, and I think he missed and everything. And then the pirate, they have a couple more little scuffles, because you can tell that the pirate trying to like fight, but he's not trying to get too close. Which is, look, as far as a tactic, because there's a lot that people don't know about martial arts. There's a lot people don't know about self-defense. And it didn't occur to me until I saw that video that man to man, for real, like if you ever in a fight and you don't really want to fight, and you know your opponent doesn't have a gun, right? It's just man on man fisticuffs, right? It would help to get naked. I think the level to which somebody want to fight you goes down the more naked you get. You know what I mean? Like if we have, like you bigger than me, if we have problems right now and you coming at me, but I'm just, like that switches things up for you. Because now you like, what am I going to punch? Like, am I going to... Because even if you win and you don't really want to, even if you punching, you just don't really want the risk of touching balls like that. Like if you... Because let's say we going head body, but then I go high and you go low, and now all of a sudden my whole knuckles get grazed. But you see, y'all groaning, but I'm right. You don't want to fight now. Next time somebody try you in the street, fellas, just start. Because dudes already take their shirt off. The problem is they not stopping. That's the problem. They're not stopping the whole fight by just taking the rest off. Because the shirt is like, you're not going to be that encumbered by the shirt, right? Might as well drop the pants. Yeah. Even take the shoes off. Really confuse them, right? And so you can tell that the pirate really doesn't want to like fully get in there. And so the whole thing starts to just fall apart. And the whole time I was thinking like, wow. I was trying once again put myself in the mindset of everybody involved. Like we went through what the tourist must have been thinking, what the pirate must have been thinking. Even the nudist. Nudist had to have something going on in his head to be like, I have to help. This guy has a blowtorch. And even though somebody just took it from, he's clearly trying to attack this person. He just attacked this person. I need to do something, right? I should call somebody. But you don't have any pockets. I wonder if he reached for it too. Like, we need to get the police. I guess it's me then. Then he ran in like a Superman with his balls out, right? But what I really can't shake is what must have been going on in that second nudist mind. Because both nudists, they were together, by the way. I don't want you to think in the story there was one nudist and then another nudist. They knew each other, right? Maybe they were just walking, enjoying a day, sunning. And then they see all this yelling going on. What was that? What could be happening? And then they see this guy has a blowtorch to his side. They're like, oh, I hope he doesn't intend to use it. And then, they see this guy strike, and then, first nudist just jumps in, starts swinging. Doesn't really have his footing right, doesn't really have his hands ready, but he's trying. That second nudist must have been like, damn, I think they got it. Like, I think they good, you know what I mean? I do like how, I'm not saying they waited in a way that, I don't mean this person was being courageous for stepping in, but I do understand the self-preservation that takes place where you wait to jump in till that blowtorch is gone, because I'm naked. That blowtorch might burn that tourist, but it would change my life. Yeah. No, it's wild stuff. Oh, I also want to say real quick, thank y'all so much for coming to the show. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for an amazing weekend and everything. I don't know, when y'all might have seen me for the first time or anything, or what maybe video it was. I've been posting to YouTube for like a year now, and I started it a year ago where I was just like, just sharing like my thoughts on things, sharing my jokes, feelings on stuff, and I appreciate it because it really, I don't know, that was the thing that really turned everything around, and I got to, in some ways, like meet you, and now I'm getting to meet you for real, and I appreciate this opportunity because it's like, I don't know when you may have seen your first video, or if you even know who I am. You might be like, she brought me. Like, that's also very fair. I will not be offended at all, right? But I appreciate you, for real. I appreciate you taking a chance on me and coming here to have a good time and letting me talk to you and everything. I've done lots of shows that were not. I've done shows where they didn't know I was coming, right? I've done shows where they booked me to do the show, and then I show up, and they're like, oh, we also gonna play the Blackhawks game behind you. And I'm like, oh, does anybody want a show? He's like, no, it's a surprise. Don't surprise. So I've definitely done shows that were, on the rough side because people weren't there to hear what I was gonna say. And I get it. I do get it. That's why I don't take anything lightly that I get to be here in front of you. And everything that I say, I'm not always going to be perfect, but I try to be thoughtful about what I'm saying, And I think sometimes when you bring something up, because you do comedy, people think whatever you bring up, you're making light of to trash it, or that's why sometimes people get uncomfortable when you talk about anything and you're a comic. They're like, oh, this person's going to be shitty, right? They're going to be shitty about a thing that I care about. And just because I'm talking about something doesn't mean I'm belittling it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that I take very seriously, but I still feel like I need to talk about because conversation is important, And oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see. It's been a scary day, It has. It's like, I hope you're not finding out from me. But someone at a rally, someone, don't do that. I'm just telling you what happened. At a rally, someone shot at Trump while he was doing his rally, and I still don't know. There's so much we don't know, but some people say it was a bullet and some people say it was glass, but either way, he got a cut over his ear and the person that was behind him got shot and they died. Right? And they've apparently shot the suspected gunman and everything, and it's just it's one of the wildest days in a long time, because there are days that are like checkpoints throughout American history. Like we had a birth as a country, and then you can set the checkpoints wherever you want, but there are big ones. There are big ones like the country starts and then there's a civil war later, right? And the Civil War is a turning point for the country forever. You know what I mean? There are people that even now say like we're more divided than ever, and I like to remind them that we did have a civil war. Yeah, I mean, like then ever, then you need to read a history book. Then ever. Ever? No, not ever. So you have something like the turning point that happens due to a civil war, which even now, even to this day, hundreds of years, there are people that are hundreds of years removed from the people leading up to the Civil War that were in their family, that they still have differing opinions on like the Civil War, why it happened, how it went down, what should have happened, right? And then you have Lincoln's assassination. That's another turning point for the country forever, right? Because once things are put on the table with time, they're never taken off. There's always something that could happen, And then you fast forward more, and we've had turning points. We've had really scary days. And people can belittle it as much as they want or whatever, but we've had times where we're like, oh, are we a country anymore? And so you see those moments like that, right? And there are people who are even now, they're afraid, right? They're afraid that there's going to be another version of the Civil War, right? Because the people that hate people so much throughout this country for whatever political affiliation for whatever they say. This is the thing about being online as well. When you go around, I go everywhere. I try to go everywhere, and I'm trying to meet people everywhere. And when I meet these people, almost all the people, and some of them are having a bad day, some of them have had a past, but most people, pretty pleasant, right? It's easy to forget that online. Because online, people have the safety to be a troll, and there's also bots. So you could go through your life and bump into people all day and have nothing but beautiful experiences. But then you get online and you post a picture of yourself because you're happy about, maybe something that you bought and you look good in. And there's all the comments under it. Why are you wearing that skirt, bitch? It's like That is happening in real life, but that is not real life, right? The people that you meet in person are real life. The people that you meet every day, that's real life, right? So I'm not saying it's real life as in it doesn't matter. I'm specifically saying that, like, the grace that you give in person is that's our better nature. That's what we would hopefully have all the time. It's being online that makes people monsters to you before you meet them. You look at those pinpoints, and there are people that are worried about us falling into the trap of another civil war, like so much hate, right? And I personally don't think that's going to happen. I'm not just hopeful. I actually don't think that's going to happen, because if I'm being honest with everyone in here, we don't have the grit. I'm not saying that there aren't people with guns. I'm not saying that people have murderous intentions for their fellow Americans. I'm saying that as a country, it's we would get tired too fast. We would. Like, it would be day 8, and there'd be people in America wake up on whatever side you on being like, again? No, I'm not saying that violence is impossible, and I pray it doesn't happen. I pray even more now that it doesn't happen than I did before. But I think that it's not going to split up the way that it did. You got to remember, the country was full of colonies, and travel was difficult. So when the country split and we had our full-on civil war, it was a different time, truly, right? And now you have family that lives here, you have family that lives over there, you have family who's moving. Because we're too interconnected now in a way that I think is good, in a way that actually forms a union, right? We're quilted together now. So no matter how you split us up, whether it's north and south, east and west, eventually, whatever side of the war you're on, eventually someone would be like, I just want a good taco. You know, I believe what I believe in, whatever, but I cannot have another bagel. I am stopped up. For my health, I can't do it. And we don't know anything yet. Like, we really don't. Everyone's talking, right? It just happened. So everybody is talking, you know? It happened like 6 hours ago, and everybody's talking, everybody's speculating. There's already the conspiracy theories. There's already like some vitriol started. There's already, we don't know, and we can't act like we know just because we feel a lot, right? Because this is the other thing. You talk about pinpoints in time. You talk about checkpoints. Civil War then leads to Lincoln's assassination. That's another checkpoint that we cannot come back from, because once things are on the table, they're on the table for the rest of time. That's why you have to be careful what you say and what you do, you know? And so then you fast forward even more. It makes me think about the assassination attempt on Reagan. Because Reagan, you know, Reagan still is one of those figures that's like either beloved or absolutely despised, right? The policies they put forward and the aftermath afterward, you know, people feel how they feel about it, right? But when you think about that person that shot Reagan, right? We were in a different time of division back then. It was still pretty, you know, relatively civil, relatively ideal by today's standards, right? But let's say we had lost our minds then and been like, oh, this is a plot, this is an inside job, this is a conspiracy. Let's say we lost our minds when Reagan got shot, and then you actually talk to the shooter, and then you find out why he did it. He's like, oh, I just wanted Jodie Foster to like me. Imagine that, though. Imagine if we had lost our minds Imagine if we had had some sort of civil war, some sort of backlash, some sort of retribution over here, all for somebody who's like, did Jodie Foster see it, or just trying to find out what Jodie doing? That's my thing. That's my sincere hope, right? I'm hopeful, and I hope you know that I pray for all of you. I pray for all of us, like I do. And even if you don't subscribe to whatever metaphysical subscription you hold, right? You know? Because at the end of the day, we really are all Americans. I know it doesn't feel that way, but every one of us, just by the reaction that y'all had when I told you that somebody died, you know that we all still have our humanity. We don't want to see anything bad actually happen to anybody, because you don't know that person. You don't know anything about the person that died today, but you know that they were an American, and you know they were a human being, right? And so I think that what I've decided when it happened, and I can only speak for me, I'm not going to tell you what to do. No matter anyone listening to me, you can do what you want. But when I saw it happen, I decided in that moment that this right here is where I'm going to plant my feet, right? I'm not going to let this make me radical one way or the other. I'm not going to lose my mind, because we don't know. And two, the humanity we show to each other just in passing, that's really important. And honestly, all this is going to be funny again in a minute. I haven't forgotten, like I didn't forget. Like I wasn't like, let me get him with the yuck yucks, now lock the door. Like I just hope, like my sincere hope is that this can be the thing that like scares us straight. You know what I mean? Like this can be the thing. It's like, oh, actually, you know what? I don't actually want any violence. I don't want anything bad to happen. You know what I mean? Because they're snowballs, right? So I just, you know, I think about that, and I think about, if you're not familiar with the show Scared Straight, basically what they do is they take kids, right? Then kids who are pretty bad, right? They're like bad kids, and then and the kids are very hard to root for, because by the beginning of the episode, they're always like, I punched my grandma in her face, right? And then they take them to jail, and they spend a weekend at jail, because it really just takes a weekend. They spend a weekend at jail with the inmates, and then they try to do what they do at home with the inmates. Like, I punched my grandma in the face, and then one of the inmates is like, kiss me. And it's just, it changes, right? It changes the vibe. And I'm not saying it works for every kid, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a foolproof thing. We can talk about child psychology however you want, but I'm saying for the kids that it does work for, it was actually something bad happening that woke them up, right? It wasn't just me coming to my senses one day. It was like, this is rock bottom. You know? You don't just wait for rock bottom. You don't just try to fall until you find it. You can decide it for yourself. This feels like granite. I think I'll stop here, right? But I also know that, like, sometimes if you don't say anything, if the thing goes unsaid, people think it goes unthought, right? And if you don't reach out to people don't know you care about them. I care truly. And people are going to feel the way they feel about me, or feel about me talking about this, but I care about every single American in a serious way. We're a country, and we're a country of people that are different. We're a family of people that sometimes hate each other. That's what family does most of the time. I went and got a dentist through unconventional means. Basically, my dentist was handing out coupons. You know the little door knocker coupons that they put on the doorknob? Okay, so my dentist had been putting those on the doors in my neighborhood, and so I came home one day and I grabbed it and came inside. It was that and 2 pizza coupons, and I was reading it. I really don't even remember what the deals were, but this is when everybody was trying to make everything a coupon, like in 2013, 14, when everybody was like Groupon was big and all this stuff like that. I don't remember what the deals were, but it was like 2 teeth get 1 free. Whatever it was, I don't remember. All I remember is there was a teeth cleaning on there, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go get my teeth cleaned at my new dentist, because if this dentist has coupons, this is the dentist for me. I have no money. And I didn't have dental or anything, so I was like, I need any break I can get. Now, I went there, and the dental assistant was very professional. She was very good, and that's my thing, is that any professional of any type, you want them to be confident in their competence, right? You want that's why you lean on them, because they look like they know what they're doing, and they have the confidence somebody knows what they're doing. So you just leave it to them, right? If there's any point where you have to question that, it ruins the whole. I've been on the bus before where the bus driver looked lost. And I'm sitting, I'm like, why is he checking his phone? But I'm in this dentist office. The dental assistant is amazing, and she's very quick, and she's asking me the questions. They even do the X-ray of my teeth, where they put the thing in their mouth. They're like, doo, 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 doo. That's your teeth, right? She did all that stuff, and then my dentist comes in, and my new dentist, walks in. And he is very clearly missing a tooth. And it's not like a wide smile, back of the mouth chewing tooth. This is one of the stars of the show. This is one of the teeth that when you smile goes like, ba-da, And so he missed, I don't know how to describe this, but he missing the tooth hard. He might as well be missing 2 teeth the way he missing this tooth, because it's not a center tooth, but it's one of those teeth where, because it's missing, I don't know how big it should be, so it feel like he missing the whole front row. It's very distracting, right? And so then he come in, and I don't know if it was recent that he lost his tooth or something, but the space in relation to his tongue is causing some slippage, and it's making him lisp, right? And so he walks in, and he's like, "Hi, how are you? Have a seat." Because I stood up to shake his hand and everything. He's like, "Yeah, have a seat." And I'm like, and then this dude is like, so he's sitting next to me, right? And he's talking, and he's asking me all the questions, and then so, how much do you floss? And this, so I was getting upset in the chair, because he's asking me, how much do you floss? And I'm like, oh, I floss every day. He's like, are you sore? And I'm like, I got so upset. I didn't say this out loud. I said it in my head, but I was like, okay, but which one of us is missing? You know what I mean? How dare you question what I'm doing over here when I'm working with a full set? You know what I mean? That's why. Are you sore? I was like, that's unacceptable. Because he was getting snippy with it, which I didn't like. That's attitude, right? And so then I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And then I don't like how he's going about it, because you know how the dentist, well, sometimes the dental assistant will do it, but sometimes the dentist specifically will go through with the floss again and go over the dental assistant's work, if they didn't feel like they did it right. And then he was grabbing all the tools, you know, like the little sharp, little pokey, the tools of the devil, right? He was grabbing all of them, and he was in my mouth and everything. And I don't know how to describe this, but I don't like, he being rough with my mouth, you know what I mean? And he being rough in a way that's like, you know, like when you driving and somebody got a beat up car, so they driving reckless because they don't care. They don't care anymore what happens to their car, so they might as well bust up your car because their car's already doomed, right? And you'll see it'll be like a busted tail light and just no bumper at all, and they taking some real risks without turning lights on, right? They won't have that blinker on at all. They just be picking whatever lane they want because they're like, hit me, I dare you, right? Hit me. You might knock something back right. You'll be doing me a favor. Go ahead and hit me, okay? And so that's how he's being in my mouth, because he's really like going hard, and then he gets to the tooth on me that he missing, and he really give it a, and I'm like, that's not okay, you know? Just because it's over for you doesn't mean, like I still have a future, you know what I mean? Like, how dare you do that? And so then, you know, I don't know if it's because I'm young and I'm just like not really thinking, or because I'm awkward in a lot of social situations anyway, but finally I was just like, so what happened? And then this man had the nerve to go, what, this? What else could I mean, sir? No, there's something on your lip. No. He's like, oh, this? I was like, yeah. And then he takes the tools out, you know, the little hose that they have in your mouth, and just sucking up all. Puts that to the side, puts the tools down, puts his hands on his knees, and goes. Got sullen, right? I felt bad for asking. He got really quiet and sullen. He was like, I hoped you wouldn't notice. Sir, you came in here teeth first. Smiling in my face, and you thought I wouldn't notice one of the main teeth. Rude. I can't stress this enough. Like, it was one of the teeth that if he committed a crime, that would be how they got him. Like, that's... Do you know what I mean? Like if he stole something tonight, they'd be like, it was this one that was... You know what I mean? Didn't even have a gold tooth in there. Didn't even have something to be like, oh, I'm a different type of dentist, right? It didn't... Just avoid. And it was big enough I could see through, like I could see his throat. Like it was... And he got sullen, and he was like, it's actually recent. I was out with some friends. And this is my thing. Okay, like, I know he telling me the story because it wasn't even my business, so he didn't have to tell me anything. So I know he's doing me a favor by telling me the story, but I swear to you, this man hit every S possible in this story. He didn't avoid any of them. I was like, what are you doing right now? Bro, every single S? That's crazy. So he's like, so I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I was out with some friends, and we were watching the sports on the little sports center they have with all the TVs and everything. There was one of my friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time from college. It was very serendipitous, and I was like, that...
Don't do that. You didn't need that one at all. That was. You could have said fortunate. That. And so then, you know, we're sitting there, and you know, I was having a good old time. I was sucking the sauce off of off my fingers and everything. And then there were some guys a few booths away that I would start jawing at one of my friends. I guess they knew him from his past or something. And so then they would start talking, you know, over at us. And so then, you know, we went over there, and you know, they were out here talking shit. And it's like truly some of the most Chicago shit I've ever heard in my life, because these like out here talking shit, and then, you know, I went ahead and I popped one in their mouth, and then he popped me right back, and I swallowed. So that's why I'm missing the tooth. And I heard that, and I was like, oh, is that all? Okay, go ahead. Go back to work. You a good dentist. You was not a good fighter. I get you. Okay. Yeah. Maybe next time, let them talk, you know?
Mira.